So somebody reached out to me recently and said, why should we listen to you when it comes to Metro 2 and how it's not effective? So I said, you know what, you're right. So today's video, we're going to let an expert from Equifax and TransUnion debunk this myth that Metro 2 is such a great way to dispute. Check it out.
So let's take a look. What I want to show you two now, I know you've seen them before, but let's take a look at what a supposed Metro 2 compliance dispute looks like. It doesn't look like anything that we've typically seen. Let me put it on the screen here. Now at the top, you'll see that there's some kind of a ledger, a key, question mark equals data points is questionable. Then it's got I, then M, U. And then what's happening is, let me see if I can just scroll down. Now here's an account. This is a real account, by the way. I had a friend of mine who has done many Metro 2 disputes, and this is what he sent me. So
I'm having a hard time not laughing. I'm having a hard time not laughing, but yes. I have a clear picture of what we're dealing with here.
Okay, so all right, so let's do this. So really, what I want to do is let's break down what appear to be the four big highlights, the four claims of a Metro 2 dispute, and that's what they look like. There's a larger part in the beginning that's just a bunch of legalese, and we can get into that in a second. But the number one is what I mentioned earlier in the beginning is this: there is a difference between a traditional credit dispute and a Metro 2 compliance dispute through eOscar. So the question is, when bureaus receive a dispute that looks like this with all the red coding, is there a difference in how they're processed? Is something magical going on when these things are scanned and those little codes are there? Let's start with Steve.
No, absolutely not, right? I mean, to me, it's all a bunch of noise. That, in fact, it makes it very difficult for the credit bureau to discern what that dispute is. And it probably does more harm than it does in any good there. So a normal person, when they submit a dispute, is going to say account number X is not my account, or account X is never been late. They're going to give some sort of specific stuff. Anytime you use terms like unproven or you can't make assumptions and stuff like that, what does that really mean? And the credit bureaus are just trying to really get down to the crux of what the dispute is, so they can then get that into eOscar. They can then get that onto the data furnisher. When you create noise like this, oftentimes you're just going to respond back with, I can't understand your dispute. And then you just get a letter in response. Right.
John, I know you had another take on this too about, this kind of screams of credit repair, among other things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not just that. So remember we talked about how there's these 34 dispute codes, and your letter is going to fall within one or two of those dispute codes. So that letter with all the U's and the I's and whatnot is so non-specific that the credit bureaus actually have a "we don't know what your dispute is" code. And it's the 112 dispute code, and I'm going to read it to you. Consumer states inaccurate information. Provider confirm complete ID and verify all account information. That is a euphemism for we have no idea what you're disputing, so we're just going to ask the furnisher to verify everything. So they're going to send off an ACDV with dispute code 112. They're going to attach that letter that you just whipped up on the screen, and they're going to ship it off to whatever, I guess it was Toyota Motor in that example. They'd send it off to Toyota Motor, and Toyota Motor would verify all the identification to make sure that it really is the correct person's loan. And then they would verify the balances and the various dates and the payment history and account statuses and the various code narratives that go along with the trade line. And then they would send it back to the credit bureaus in a week or 2 weeks. And then the credit bureaus would update the trade line accordingly and then send the results to the consumer.
So as you can see, directly from Equifax and TransUnion themselves, it's honestly a joke to them that people are using Metro 2. So if you're working with a company that is using Metro 2 and charging you hundreds of dollars a month, you're getting ripped off. There's a reason why we only charge $9.99 a month for Metro 2 credit repair. It's just not that effective. If y'all have any questions, leave them in the comments. Hope y'all have a great night.